So this is the last, the boss guy, and what I did was kill him and take his money. But we actually supposed to, apparently, according to the ideal playthrough, we're supposed to pressure the man into telling where he's hiding the rest of his gold. We're gonna do that. You're telling me I can have all your money, I tell him, but that's not all your money is it? Where are you hiding the rest of it? What do you mean? That's all I have with me. The rest of my fortune lies in my mansion in Western Continent. I know your type. You would never keep all your money in one place, especially in a place like this. You must have a secret stash hidden somewhere around here in case of emergency. That's all I have, I swear. Fine. I point my crossbow at his head. Wait, you're right. There's more. I've buried some gold next to the tree over there, just to be safe. But that's the last of my money, I swear. Go over there to the tree. He was talking about, start digging out his treasure to verify that he's telling the truth. There's even more gold here than there is in his bag. I very much doubt that this is the last of his hidden stashes, but I'm probably not going to get any more info out of him at this point. I go back to where Kate and the Duke of Baggleberry are. Oh, the Duke of Baggleberry is the enemy. See, says the Duke, that's all there is, and it's all yours now. So apparently we're supposed to kill him, I'm sure, because the ideal playthrough is telling us to kill him. If we don't kill him, we're gonna get into trouble, so we're gonna kill him anyway. Am I free to go? He asks me. Yes, you are. I tell him as I aim my crossbow at him and shoot him in the head forever. I take his bag of coins and rest of his treasure and say to Kate, we're done here. Let's go back to our cave. That was a sleeping dart, you know, Kate tells me as we make our way back to camp. The dart you saved me from, I'm not sure what would have happened if you hadn't intervened. I actually know what would have happened. She stops for a little, then looks at me. That's twice I owe you now, Barry. Did you ever consider opening up a bank? I'll give that a thought after the end of the tournament. I spent the rest of our trip back in silence, but I didn't really find it awkward anymore. Now after all we've been through this morning, a bit of quiet is more than welcome. Here we are in chapter 4. Now, there again, as I said, the ideal playthrough does not cover every choice that you need to make. They only cover the important choices. This is not an important choice, so we have freedom to make our own choices. And last time I believe I said maybe they're increasing a number or something like that. I don't remember what I said actually, but they were talking about what is the objective. Why haven't the objective of the tournament been announced just yet? And we know later that it was actually because of a technical difficulty. They're gonna say that maybe they experienced some technical difficulties. If they experience some technical difficulties, maybe they're trying to fix them as we speak, and we'll receive our objective before noon. I really hope you're right, Barry. I just can't bring myself to believe that they're doing this intentionally. Yeah, we have seen the rest of it. This is where Aiden comes in. So here's the next choice. We're just talking to Aiden. Again, not an important choice. We have already know everything we need to know about a Beacon of Hope because we have finished this book. If you don't know, then you have definitely watched the main series that I did on this for book 1. You can go check it out. I will be uploading this is just ideal, so we're just gonna skip all this because we already read all this. Let me check if there's anything new regarding this. So here we go. First important choice of the chapter. There's nothing new. All that bullshit. Who cares? So chapter 4. Propose a different trade. So we were supposed to propose a different trade, which we did last time as well. Because if you accept the trade, he will kill you immediately, and that would just give you a trophy. So propose a different trade. So Aiden has left, and Darren is showing up. While I try to wake Darren up, I suddenly hear a very familiar voice coming from the direction where the Aiden disappeared. Stillwater, that's Custer's Dave's voice. No doubt about it, I'd recognize that hoarse voice and that thuggish accent anywhere. I turn around towards where the trees come from, but there's only trees. Why would Cutthroat Dave shout for me before even getting the chance to get a clear shot of my face? Then it hit me, he'd never actually see my face. I was hiding behind a tree the whole time. I rushed towards the woods to confirm my suspicion. I hide behind one of the trees and take a peek. Just as I thought, Cutthroat Dave has mistaken Aiden for me, and he is looking for revenge. He managed to assemble a team of some sort while we were apart, and they all have the Stillwater surrounded. Sad part is Dave looks like yeah, we already read all this. I've been looking for you, Stillwater, Dave says. I've been tracking your footsteps since yesterday. I told you we'd meet again. No one can run or hide from the Cutthroat Dave. I'm afraid you're mistaken, my good man. I'm quite sure I've never seen you in my life. I'm sure of that too. You need to open your eyes in order to see me. Oh, that's a good one. Whatever, we have already seen all this, and Cutthroat Dave's men all give a roar as they raise their hands. Right, because if we went, I'm pretty much sure this is exactly what I did last time as well, but I went with good, fewer enemies for us to worry about. But if we do that, Aiden will break our knees, which I do remember that. So as the ideal playthrough says, Choose nobody deserves such a gruesome fate, not even Cutthroat Dave. Which I don't like, but I will do it because there's a separate timeline. We are going to continue the timeline I created, the shitty timeline, and the ideal timeline we'll keep separate. Nobody deserves such a gruesome fate, not even Cutthroat Dave. Who knows what the sadistic bastard would do to him if I let him. Not even Cutthroat Dave deserves such a gruesome fate. At the very least, a death by my hands or by Darren's would be quick and painless. I'm not completely sure about Kate though. I step out of my tree shadows and face the cutthroats. Dave is now shifting his gaze between me and the still water, unsure what to think. He is looking at me smiling. What's wrong, Dave? Has it been so long that you have forgotten the sound of my voice? No, he answers. No, I remember your voice just fine. I hope you wash your neck while waiting for me, arrogant prick. Then points towards Aiden. Don't think I'm done with you. You'd better not leave this place until this is over. I wouldn't dream of it, says Aiden, still smiling. I rush out of the forest and head directly for Darren. The cutthroats are still on my tail, but they make a full stop when they see that I'm not alone. Darren, who was just waking up, is looking around him confused. What happened? Where's the Stillwater? He asked me. Forget the Stillwater. Look who came to greet us. Dave's henchmen started talking amongst themselves. It seems they're not fully convinced that they should risk going into a battle against both the legendary hero Darren and the Stillwater at the same time. I take advantage of this and call for Kate. Kate, we're being attacked. Come quick. Stop shouting, I'm right here, Kate says, as she exits the cave. As if someone could sleep with the stench. It smells worse than all of the fields of corpses we have passed out on our way here. She addresses Cutthroat Dave's men. Good gods, we have already passed 3 lakes since we arrived. 3. Not one single dive in any of them would have done wonders. Maybe there's a big rock tied to your feet in order to make sure to remove that filth for good. Who's the loudmouthed wench? Cutthroat Dave asked me. We haven't been here for little more than a day and you've already bought a whore? Couldn't you have kept it in your pants at least until the end of the tournament? One of the Kate's eyes is twitching. Here we go again. Boss, I think that's a banshee. One of the Dave's henchmen tells him, visibly scared. Is she? I don't know. Brothels hired banshees in this continent. Gotta get me one of those. He grins maliciously and looks at Kate. Look how much you love, how much you charging. I bet I can make you enjoy yourself more than any of these 2 chumps. I'll make sure to give you lots of lovin'. That's so good. That's so good. He's such a good fucking thug though, gotta say. Knowing Kate, my first thought was to look up. As I suspected while Cutthroat Dave was talking, Kate was busy piling up floating ice swords in the sky. She sends them all flying at once, 5 for each of them, just to make sure. Dave's henchmen died on the spot, impaled by the many swords conjured by the Faith. Their leader, however, managed to deflect for the sword with his flying knives in the nick of time. The 5th sword went through his right leg. You cowards hired a whore for a bodyguard. Dave asks us. Well, he's just completely convinced that it's a whore. It's not actually someone else. Dave asks us while struggling to mask the pain on his face. How low can you get? Looks like you're not all talk, Cutthroat. Let's see if we can deflect the next one. Wait, Kate, Darren says. I think he's learned his lessons. Can't be serious. And what would you have us send him off with the stern warning? We'll tie him up and leave him here. Let the gods decide his fate. Kate looks as though she's considering whether to simply execute Cutthroat Dave without Darren's consent. She decides against it, probably not wanting to push her luck. Said she addresses me. Barry, say something to him. He listens to you. And this is what I was talking about. In here, the guide says you're supposed to agree with Darren and let Dave go, and he will be killed later in Book 2, Chapter 11, apparently. Again, I will say this. This is not the choice I would have ever made, which is why I'm going to play my own playthrough. And because in Medieval Fantasy, most choices were like already predetermined, and the ones that were not were always going in the direction I like them to go. So we always went with the best choice chapter anyway. But in this case, we will not. I will continue my own playthrough separately, and I will continue this playthrough separately. So we're gonna go with agree with Darren. Agree with Darren. I'm sorry, kid, but I'm with Darren on this one. Let there be no more bloodshed today. You've both gone insane. Listen to yourself. You're siding with the thug. We're not siding with anyone, Darren says. If the gods see fit to release him, then he has learned his lesson. Otherwise, he will stay here and rot. Cutthroat Dave was waiting for the right moment when neither of us were looking at him, and he sees the opportunity and quickly pulls out a teleportation scroll out of his pocket before any of us has the time to react. Casts the spells and props out without a trace. Where the hell did the lowlife get a teleportation scroll from? I've been searching one for months. Came up empty. Not to mention that even a single one of these scrolls cost a fortune. Look at what happened, Kate says furious. He got away. Was that the god's decision too? Do not mock the gods, woman, Darren replies. No one could have known a common thug like him would have had access to a teleportation scroll. The slow sound of clapping. There's a slow sound of clapping hands coming from the trees. Looking to see where the sound, what's making the sound. I see Aiden leaning against a pine tree with his usual smile on his face. Magnificent, he says. Though thugs never stood a chance, I would have expected no less from the survivor of Beacon of Hope. You, Darren shouts, and he rushes towards the still water. Once again, with one gesture of his hand, Aiden puts Darren to sleep in the middle of his sprint, which makes him fall on the ground, slide on his armor for a few feet before coming to a halt. Seriously, this is getting ridiculous, Aiden says. Kate eyes the Silverwater suspiciously. Why didn't you do it? She asks him. Pardon? Why didn't you kill him? If you were able to put him to sleep so easily, you could have much more easily finished him off. How perceptive. Well, it so happens that I made a trade with Barry, which prohibits me from killing any of you, unless he fails to uphold his end of the bargain, of course. A trade with Barry? What could he have possibly offered you in exchange for our lives? He offered to deliver a message. A message? Kate looks at me before she continues. There's no way you'd have spared our lives for one message. What are you really after? Aiden's white smile widens. Really now? What's the last time you got an honest answer by asking a question like that? Never. So I'll ask you this again. How do you know about the Beacon of Hope? Is this really the question you should be asking? Shouldn't the question here be why your friends don't know anything about the Beacon of Hope? Kate looks at me again. I can see the hesitation in her eyes. It's complicated, she tells me finally. Indeed it is, Aiden says, and he turns to me. Well then, I'll be waiting for you to deliver my message. Do not fail me, Barry. Wait, Kate calls out of him, but Aiden pays her no heed and disappears into the darkness of the forest.